So, is the narcissist the problem or are you insane? That's the question people ask because once you've been dealing with somebody that long enough, it can be a narcissist, any other type of pathological gamer. They either make you feel like you're crazy or you feel like they've got a huge problem, and sometimes you're not really sure which one it is. Narcissists really detest people who have their shit together because if you have your shit together, if you are someone who calls out behaviors that are not right, if you're someone who is self contained, somebody who has a certain level of composure and doesn't just buy into this kind of gaslighting behavior of theirs, it really destabilizes them because it's like they're launching these jabs your way, but doesn't really land on you the way you want. And that's the thing about being level-headed. That's the thing about being chill. That's the thing about not falling into people's games and manipulations. Because if you're somebody, let's just say you're somebody who's had a healthy upbringing, you're somebody who's got your shit together. When somebody starts to game you, you kind of take a step back. When somebody is reeling you in but demonstrating lots of red flags, you don't really go in too deep. That kind of thing, it can really bring out the worst in the other person. It can either make the person immediately repelled by you, or it can bring out the worst in them. This kind of chaotic, erratic behavior, because they're trying to get a grip on you. They're trying to get some form of control over you. And they just can't. But what a lot of people do is, so a lot of people, maybe some people who didn't have a healthy upbringing, maybe people who are not good at steering clear when they do see red flags. If you would have bought into their love bombing initially, if you would have just ridden the wave of the euphoria of their love bombing at the beginning, then sometimes you find it's not so easy to detach. So when the red flags start to show themselves, you don't want to believe what you're seeing in front of you. So it's that popular quote that Maya Angelou once said, if somebody tells you who they are, believe them the first time. And a lot of times, if you're somebody who isn't really well adjusted yourself, you don't want to believe somebody when they tell you who they are. They can repeatedly demonstrate the same red flags and you don't want to believe it. And a lot of times people who have people fixing tendencies almost take it as a challenge. I'm going to fix this person. I'm going to fix the narcissist. I'm going to fix the pathological gamer. It's kind of like if you're riding in the mountains somewhere where there's very few roads, maybe mostly narrow roads, and a lot of these kind of bridges connecting one section to the other, and then there's this sign that says, the bridge is broken. But you ignore the sign and you think, the bridge might be fixed before I get there. I can imagine it into a fixed place before I get there. And if you're the kind of person who keeps on going, all of a sudden you find yourself riding off a cliff. I'm not sure if you've seen the movie Chitty Chitty Bang Bang. I haven't actually seen the movie, but I've seen like a trailer for the movie, and they're like flying down a mountain in a car. But the only problem with you is if you're in that car, the car wouldn't be flying, it would be falling. And then it'll make a very loud bang when it hits the ground. So you should pay attention to the signs. You should pay attention to the red flags because they're there to tell you something. And one thing you need to know about people, not just narcissists, but other people who have this kind of constant inner turmoil. They act consistently with who they are. So if somebody kind of love bombs you, is very, tries to pump you up a little bit too much, but then that same person kind of withdraws heavily and shows all other types of red flags, and then that's not them just doing it for fun. That's just who they are. This inconsistency is their own kind of inconsistency, because what you find in people who are severely disordered is their heart, kind of like what their heart wants and what their brain wants are two different things. Because their heart, their soul wants something, but their brain kind of tells them something else because they have these maladaptive learned behaviors. And they're in this constant kind of tug of war with themselves, where they don't really know what they should be listening to. And they kind of swing back and forth like a pendulum that's full of spikes and on fire. And anyone who comes even close to the pendulum, it's like this juggernaut just kind of swinging around. You know, you get taken down, you get hit, you get burnt, you get cut, you get bruised. Because what you witness from these people is what they are inside. And a lot of people, again, going back to that whole people fixing mentality, is thinking it's noble to take it on as a challenge almost to fix the person, when in fact, you don't want to fix the person. You want the validation from knowing that you can change that person to suit you. And most likely, if you were to, in some hypothetical imaginary world, fix a broken person, and you're the kind of person that's attracted to broken people, you probably lose interest in that broken person and pursue another broken person. Red flags should be assigned to run the other way. Turn around and go back the opposite direction. Red flags should not be assigned to, oh, keep on going, it'll be fixed before I know it. I'll fix it. You know, if you're flying a plane and your radar tells you there's a tornado ahead, listen to the radar, don't fly into the tornado. You know, a red flag. If you're in a ship and you see an iceberg ahead, steer clear of the iceberg. Don't go face on into it. Doesn't always end well. You can't fix people. The best you can do is lead by example. When you get caught up in some kind of relationship and all of a sudden you need to become the person's therapist, you feel like it's your job to become the person's therapist, especially in any form of close relationship, that will never end well. There's no scenario in humanity where becoming somebody's therapist, somebody who you have that kind of close-knit relationship to, will end well. Therapists need to be third parties who don't have emotional attachment. Any therapist who has a strong emotional attachment to the person they're trying to help is breaking all kinds of ethical and moral grounds, not to mention professional grounds as well. And it shouldn't be any different for you trying to be the therapist of somebody like that. Relationships should be about give and take, not one trying to fix the other until some kind of catastrophe arises. Thanks for watching.